Hello everyone, this is Megneous here, and I have a new game for you, Osmos. So Osmos isn't a new game, but it's a new game for this channel. I bought this game last year for the Steam Summer Sale, and again this year it's on sale. It's not a daily deal at the moment, but it's still $2.99, I believe. In my opinion, that is an amazing price for this game, and I'm going to tell you why. So I bought this game when I bought several other indie games, including Euphoria, and I was very interested in indie games at the time, and this game blew me away for many reasons. First of all, the graphic style is very simplistic and very easy to take in. It's very relaxing. And the music, as you can hear in the background right now, is actually incredibly relaxing. I This is probably one of the most relaxing games that I've ever played from Steam until you get to the last levels, like these levels here, the last levels in the force reception sort of path are really difficult, but other than that, for the most part, they're pretty relaxing. You just sort of float around for the most part. In terms of genre, this game defies categorization. In fact, if you look in the Steam store for the category, it's in all games because it really can't be put into something like RPG or platform or anything like that. It's hard to describe really, so I'm probably just going to play some levels for you and show you how it's done. But if I had to describe it, I would say that you're some sort of maybe an organism, a bilayer or anything like that as far as I can tell. But you're one of these orbs and you float around in this liquid trying to absorb other orbs or possibly cells or embryos. And you basically just try to get larger than everything else, and you do this by absorbing other things. During that time when you move by expelling part of yourself out, like through a vesicle if you're familiar with cell biology, and that causes you to move in a certain direction. So I could continue explaining it like that, but I think it would be best just to show you. So we're going to start with the intro levels. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Indeed. This is you. So basically, as you read below, this is your character, as it were. You play as this very bright blue ball throughout everything, and you move by moving the cursor behind yourself, which is basically anywhere the opposite of where you want to go, and clicking. As you can see, I just propelled a small part of myself out, and I reabsorbed it. I can move in another direction and show you that if you hold it down or click very quickly, you can move more quickly. Like so. I love the bouncing sound that it makes. It's so amazing. But yeah, so this game can be a little bit difficult for new players to get the hang of, I've noticed before, because you move in such a way that physics is actually very important. Inertia is very real in this game, and as you can see, because I went very fast, I'm still moving quite quickly. And this is a problem for many people, because this game requires precision. Precision and patience, really, a lot of the time. For example, you can see that I'm slowing down, but the point of this little tutorial area is to get inside of this circle. At one time I tried to get a friend to play this game, and it took them at least 10 minutes to get in the circle and stay in the circle, because apparently for some people it's very hard to get through the whole adjusting sort of thing, like how I just slowed myself down. Slowing yourself down in this game can be difficult at times, but for the most part, if you just play around with it, uh, you can get it done. And then you just stay in the circle. This is a tutorial, this is not how the real game works. So now the goal is to absorb these two, and then absorb this one last. Now you can move very quickly through these levels at very, very high speeds actually. But the problem with that is that to do that you have to expel parts of yourself to move very quickly. And when you do that, what happens is that you get smaller, which means that you can absorb fewer other things, and more things can absorb you, thus ending your life. But in this game, often it's better just to take a laid-back sort of approach, where you don't really mind going slow, you just float around, listen to the music. Things will happen in due time. For example, if I continue on this route, it looks like I'm probably going to connect with that, and I won't really have to expel any more of myself. Let's see what happens. Oh, like so. And let's see, to finish this I probably have to absorb this one as well. So, on my way. Do I really have to absorb that too? It's depressing. Zone complete. So this is your first real try at a level, and things don't really move around very quickly in this, because this is a tutorial level. Your goal, of course, is to become the biggest, as is said, absorbing all of these little ones to slowly become larger. You're much smaller in this one, so you start off shooting out only small parts of yourself, but that will change very quickly. The faster you move about and gain more, you'll quickly see that you can actually shoot out quite large amounts of yourself and very quickly become smaller, thus lowering your chances of absorbing other things. There are a few things in this game as far as controls. It'll explain some controls. You can zoom out and in by using the mouse wheel or up and down arrows, as it said. You can increase or decrease time. It's not going to let me do it here because the level's already over, but... Well, so now things are moving faster. Let's see... It's probably not going to let me do that until it explains it. Well, let's just take a seat and enjoy the ride, float around, and absorb some orbs. This is one of the more laid-back types of levels where you just float around and absorb other things. In other game levels, there are embryos or other cells that you have to try to absorb artificial life. One of the game levels that I really dislike, I'm really bad at, is the, what is it called, the force reception ones, where you go around a black hole, basically, and try to absorb other things. Those are really difficult for me personally. I'll show you one of those eventually. So it just said to use Alt-Z, and Alt-Z is what you can do if you want to replay a level. Let's say you start off with a spawn that you don't really like, or you seriously messed up. So you can restart by using Alt-Z. It comes in a lot. It's very useful in some of the levels. And continue. Yes, force reception. Here you go. Behold the bane of my existence. That is a black hole, and this line represents your orbit around the black hole. You can alter this orbit by pushing out further or pushing in to change your trajectory. But the issue, of course, is that you can at any time be hit by these other orbs that are larger than you. So you basically have to play a game of trying to move in without falling into the black hole, trying to move out without going outside the black hole too far, because if you go too far you die also. It's really difficult, to say the least, sometimes. There is in fact an achievement in Steam that you can get by making the black hole collapse. I believe you do that by shooting matter into the black hole. That was a fun and interesting achievement to try to achieve. Okay, so by right-clicking you can slow down time like I just did here. At the very bottom of the screen you can see the red line here. By right-clicking I slow down time. You can right-click again to speed it back up to normal, like so. I believe the middle mouse button increases the speed of time. Yes, it does. And you can put it back by middle clicking again. It's the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. Wonder what happens to that when it goes out. Oh, it's gone. Oh, that's frightening. Yeah, if that hits me, or if that hits me, I'm dead as well. Orbital mechanics are very frightening things, by the way. If you ever check out another game, what is it called? Universe Sandbox, I believe. That game's very interesting. It's not so much a game as a simulator, but like I said, this is probably my least favorite game type, and this just because it's difficult and it takes a long time. It requires a lot of patience, a lot of care. So close to finishing. It's frightening. Sigh. Yes. Very good. Moving on. The Repulsor. Repulsors essentially just run away from you. And as you absorb more things, you have to absorb the Repulsor, but it runs away. Usually you win these levels by backing the Repulsor into a corner of some sort. Or just by becoming so big that as long as you don't push any parts of yourself out, really nothing very bad can happen to you, and then you just float around for a while. At this point, basically, I'm almost invulnerable. Just going to slowly make my way to absorb a few more of these. There should be nothing that can absorb me, unless these two go together. That's the one thing about this game that's sort of bothersome. In certain times, if a certain amount of mass gets in one piece, since these inanimate masses don't push any of their material out, there's really nothing you can do if, you know, all of the combined mass is bigger than you are, so you can't absorb it. There's nothing really that can be done about that. One of the strategies that I use is shooting things into a wall, because it backs right back into you. It doesn't waste your mass. It's a good way to do things. This is indeed the fastest it will go, by the way, just to show you that... Okay, so now that I'm as big as I'm going to get, it's time to go after the Repulsor. There you go. Artificial life. Ovariums. So they're not embryos, they're ovariums. These things will absorb other masses and become larger, and they can move themselves. They can actually shoot out part of their mass to move. They're quite frightening, actually, and they will try to absorb you if you're smaller than they are. This game doesn't exactly have the best AI, but it does indeed have AI. Ovariums are usually quite slow to attack you. They don't really care that much. The artificial, what are those things called? There's some other things that move quite quickly, and They, on the other hand, will very gladly attack you very quickly. They're very aggressive. Well, there you have it, folks. I died. Okay, let's try this again. And yeah. Okay, so this is good. Basically, at this point, it doesn't really matter what happens, because I'm so large and I have so much of the mass of the level here that the Ovarium essentially can't run away, but if they do run away, they have to expel their mass. So eventually, they're just going to use all of their mass trying to get away from me, and then I absorb it and get larger. So there's really nothing they can do. They always have to change their direction. I don't have to change mine, so I can conserve my mass. This is how you win the Ovarium levels more often than not. Slow and steady. And there you go. The biophobes. I don't really remember the biophobes. I wonder if this is an update. It's been quite a while since I played this game, so maybe the biophobes are something new. Maybe not. Maybe I just have no recollection of these whatsoever. This swishing sound that they make when you absorb them actually feels quite good. Like you physically become happier when you hear it. Again, the biophobe appears to be basically the same thing as the Ovarium, just... I wonder what happens when it runs out of mass. Is that possible? Oh, it's quite smart, actually. Delicious. Okay, so that's basically the tutorial levels for Osmos. I hope you guys liked it, and hopefully I can figure out how to speed up through those sections that were quite boring so you don't have to deal with it. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video.